Welcome back once again to another year of the Bobby Cremins Show. I'm Nate Ross, your host, of course, joined by the head coach of the College of Charleston Cougars, Bobby Cremins. We're a little formal this first show, but that won't be the case the rest of the season. We'll explain why later. Coach, everybody knows the players that return, Andrew Gadlock, Donovan Monroe, and the rest of the great team that's coming back. But we got 4 new guys on the team this year. Talk a little bit about the new guys.
Well, first, I want to wish everybody, I hope you had a very happy holiday. And as Nate alluded to, we've already played 15 games. Nate, we're only playing one freshman right now, and that's Trent Wiedemann. We're trying to get some more playing time for another freshman or 2. But Trent Wiedemann has stepped up and is playing a lot of important minutes for us.
Absolutely.
So hopefully these other freshmen can step up and maybe get some playing time later on.
Nuri Johnson, James Carlton, known as JC, and of course Jordan Scott.
Yeah.
We're going to split this up into marquee games, which the man went back in the ACC for a while, and then conference games. Let's take a look at the marquee games right now. Coach, first game of the year, you open up in Maryland.
Nate, a tough opener to go on the road in the ACC and play against my good friend Gary Williams. But guess what, Nate? We played with a lot of confidence and a lot of poise. I was very pleased at the way we played early on. Nate, we should have won this game. We did some great things. AC Press and Antoine Wiggins missing, but Jeremy Simmons following up. This game went down to the wire. Of course, Drew Gadlock made some great shots. Great defense by Antoine Wiggins there. Now you see Drew here. Great pass, and there you go.
Yeah,
bingo.
great game.
Bingo, he can shoot it. Nate, believe it or not, we almost took control of this game. But Maryland, and I give Gary Williams so much credit, their pressing defense. Beautiful pass. That was big time right there.
Now you see Trent Wiedemann, freshman, first game of his college career at Maryland.
We talked about Trent, and he was really impressive. Now, Gary Williams, of course, is a beautiful jump shot there. And that shot right there, Nate, gives him the lead. Now watch this shot Gadlock has to win it. He does a great job, gets a great shot off, hits the back of the rim. And we lose a tough ACC road game.
Doesn't get any easier. You get next game against Rhode Island at Toledo in the tournament.
A team that just missed the NCAA last year. We go to Toledo, Ohio, and we run into a very, very good basketball team. Nate, Drew Gadlock struggled here because they were double, triple teaming him.
Yep.
And our other guys did not step up and make plays. Now, what I'm really pleased about this tournament, Nate, after we lost this game, we came back and won the 2 remaining games. One was against Illinois Chicago, who went on to beat Illinois, and the other was against the host team, Toledo. But right now, in this particular tape, Rhode Island is taking it to the Cougars, and they're doing everything right. But I was proud, Nate, of the way we bounced back after we did not play well against Rhode Island.
Well, you can see you guys just hung in there, and the color of the uniforms is a bit similar to the next game in the season. We'll watch the rest of this. And once again, Gadlock hitting threes. That big guy was tough inside.
Very nice move inside. Nice pass by Andrew Lawrence. Andrew Lawrence, and let me tell you something about our sophomores. Andrew Lawrence and Willis Hall have come back better. Now, it's a beautiful pass there. Again, Andrew Lawrence and Jeremy Simmons. But, Nate, games like this prepare you for Southern Conference, other out-of-conference games. And even though we lost, Nate, you know, you learn from losses. And you've got to try and bounce back, and that's exactly what we did.
Well, and then we go to an arena you're very familiar with at North Carolina in the Dean Dome.
Well, everybody knows the reason this was such a build-up game was we beat them last year. And the Tar Heels were not happy about that, and they were going to come out to prove something. But guess what? The Cougars hung in there tough.
Here's Wiedemann again.
And finally, midway through the second half, Drew Gadlock starts putting on his show, Nate. But North Carolina was really, really fired up. And I think they're a much better team this year. And here we go, late in the second half, and Gadlock starts warming up. And guess who's going to go ahead? The Cougars are going to go ahead. Great rebound by Willis Hall. And here we go now. We're up 2, and now watch what happens here, Nate. We're going to get a 3, and we're going to go up 5 points. And at this point, I really thought we had a chance to win. What a great shot by Drew Gadlock.
And there's Henson with a great offensive rebound here. Long arms, very athletic young man.
North Carolina shows a lot of class. They come right back. They take it to us. And they go on for a great victory for them, Nate. Again, so many people made so much of last year, us defeating them. Godlock on a big three. I congratulate North Carolina. They played a very good basketball game.
And then the Cougars continue their ACC play in a phenomenal atmosphere at home against Clemson.
Well, another ACC team. And last year, Clemson kind of embarrassed us. But Nate, we talk about great atmosphere. And last year, North Carolina, this atmosphere, last year, Wofford, this atmosphere was second to none. They see Andrew Lawrence from England on a big three. And they see Clemson. Beautiful move by Clemson. Beautiful.
That's Grant with the dunk.
Yes. And they see Willis on a miss, but we get a beautiful follow there by Antoine Wiggins. Nate, this was an exciting game. We were outplayed this game. I give...
That's deep right there.
I give Stitt. Stitt did a great job defensively on Drew. Tanner for Clemson. Of course, the hometown product from Somerville who played at Pinewood was the big man inside. Milton Jennings was very, very good. But we hung in there, Nate. We did not deserve to win this game. But we had a shot. We had a chance to at least put this game into overtime.
Speaking of deserving to win a basketball game, you went down to Bruce Pearl country and played at Tennessee. Another great atmosphere.
Nate, some games you put everything together. And this was our game where we put everything together. It was not just a one-man show as you're watching right now. It was Donovan Monroe. It was Jeremy Simmons. Antoine Wiggins had 15 points. Willis Hall had only 3 points, but he played very well. Obviously, our backcourt, Nate, they had 31 and 27. And what a performance. We go to zone here. Unfortunately for Tennessee, they did not hit a lot of outside shots. And we capitalized. We should get that rebound right there. But Nate, this turned out to be a wild game. Coach Bruce Pearl got ejected, and he's a great coach.
Classy move. It came over to you before he left.
But this was a great win for the College of Charleston. Now watch Donovan. Look at the ball movement there. That's what I love, Nate. So we go on for a great road win. Unfortunately, we had to stay in Tennessee and play Morehead State. And Morehead State, they just took it to us. They had a great player in Faree. And we closed it out. And, of course, everybody's happy.
Well, the Marquee games were phenomenal. They beat Tennessee to end that stretch. And I know conference games are most important. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the conference games in the SoCon with Bobby Cremins on the Bobby Cremins Show.
AT&T covers 97% of all Americans. Rethink possible.
Welcome back once again to the Bobby Cremins Show. Coach, we've spoken about the Marquee games, but I know conference games are most important. How do you address that differently with your guys?
Well, whoever wins the regular season gets an automatic NIT bid, and that's so important, and especially when you start with Davidson, Nate. When you open up against one of our toughest arch rivals in Davidson, you got to be ready to play. But we all know conference games, they're just a little bit different. There's a little bit more importance in those conference games.
And we talked about it. You're 3-0 in the conference, Coach, which is great. First Davidson game, 82-73 win. Let's look at the highlights.
Nate, we know how good Davidson is. Thank God they don't have Stephon Curry anymore. But they still have a great, great coach in Bobby McKillop. And Nate, they're just physical. They know how to play. And they came into Charleston ready to play basketball. They see Donovan Monroe, back to Drew Godlock, and you know what's going to happen here. So tough to defend that. But Davidson was physical and
there's
tough.
Your freshman.
And there's our freshman. Great assist by Drew Godlock. And Nate, this game went down to the wire again. Davidson making big shots, and Drew Godlock, what a shot he made late in this game. But you see him with the ball. Look at that pass. See, he finds the open man, and Willis Hall delivers a wide open three. Give Godlock. Look at that defense by Monroe there. Excuse me, that was Simmons. And back down comes Drew and gets fouled. Now here we go, Nate. It's anybody's game. Great ball movement and a great, great shot by Drew Godlock. We earned this game. Now, unfortunately, Nate, after this game, we had a little incident. A couple of guys broke curfew, and we had to come into our second conference game against Georgia Southern without Jeremy Simmons and Antoine Wiggins, and I was upset. I was very upset. And we inserted Andrew Lawrence and Antoine Wiggins' place, and our freshman Trent Wiedemann. And then the other freshman had to play a lot of basketball, James Carlton and Jordan Scott. We got off to a great start, fantastic start. But Nate, Georgia Southern, they continued to press us.
Their pace, exactly. Their pace gets you into a style, and they can catch up and they can get blown out.
You think you might have a 15, 20-point lead, Nate. It's like a 7-point lead. And all of a sudden, they start sneaking back in the game. We get sloppy. We took care of business. They see a beautiful pass out of the trap, beautiful passing, and a great finish. And we go on to a good home court victory in the Southern Conference.
And then at Furman University, a great win, 76-72. A couple points about that game. The last 17-plus minutes, they don't have the lead, and Andrew Gadlock has a phenomenal game in 31. Give us your thoughts about it.
Nate, first of all, they're the most improved team in the conference. Right. They had the big win at a conference against South Carolina. They were undefeated going into our game at home and in the conference. And actually, Nate, it was a game for first place. And we're coming off a bad loss where we did not play well. And we had to respond. Simmons got in foul trouble. We had our freshman and sophomore playing the front line, Trent and Willis. But Drew Godlock.
14 first half, 17 second half for a total of 31 and free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, well, it was before the free throws, a tied game. He made some great passes. That Donovan Monroe, he's so sneaky around the basket. But Drew Godlock on one of his mid-range floater, the game tie. And Nate, finally we went down there and we had some stops. And we went on for a great road victory. It was hard-earned. I give the Furman Paladins a lot of credit. Jeff Jackson has a very much improved team. And thank God we have Drew Godlock.
Well, Coach, 3-0 in the conference, and that's great. One thing we want to show, and you'll love to see this as well, Trent Wiedemann with our AT&T Play of the Week at North Carolina, gets the ball on the left of baseline, goes against the trees for North Carolina up and under, and slams it. As you can see on the telestrator, the two defensive players that are marked are looking at Drew Godlock. Drew Godlock doesn't have the basketball. Mr. Wiedemann does have the basketball and goes in and slams it as a freshman in the Dean Dome against North Carolina. A great play. This week's AT&T Play of the Week, Trent Wiedemann. We'll be back with a whole lot more on the Bobby Cremins Show right after these messages.
Hey, everyone's eating tacos outside Bill's office. Don't you think that's some information I would like to know? I like tacos. You invited Eric? I thought Eric gave you the creeps. Oh. Yeah. Hey.
Don't be left behind. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, is getting faster with 4G.
Welcome back to the Bobby Cremins Show. Coach, 3-0 in the Southern Conference. That's a good thing. It's very early. What are your thoughts about the conference so far?
Well, Nate, I'm very, very pleased with our overall record, and mainly because we play one of the toughest schedules in the country. And obviously, being 3-0 in the Southern Conference is great. Our fourth Southern Conference game, of course, is against a team that won it all last year. 5 seniors. Don't mention those guys' names. They give me nightmares. But I really, I have great respect for Wofford, and it's a great matchup.
Benjamin Johnson Arena, Noah Dahlman, Tim Johnson inside. They just beat the Citadel, so they're on a little bit of a roll. tough place to play. How do you get you guys ready for that one?
Oh, Nate, if you're not ready to play against Wofford, you're just not ready to play. Nate, the biggest thing with me is, it's not so much the opponent, it's what do we need to do to get better? And I'm learning something every game. And I'm trying to get us, squared away offensively. A lot of people are doubling Drew Godlock,
right,
taking the ball out of his hands, making other players make plays. We got to do that. We got to be a balanced team. But everything, as you know, revolves around Drew Godlock. He's such a great player. We got to keep, we got to give him his freedom, but he also has got to be able to make plays for 4 other players on the court. So it's been a real challenge for me, and it's been fun.
Sure.
And again, I'm so grateful I have an opportunity to coach a player like Drew Godlock because he makes such incredible baskets. So Nate, it's a work in progress. I tell my team this all the time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And after losses, we got to come back, regroup, and learn, and keep learning, and keep getting better.
Well, now we're into the meat of the Southern Conference schedule, obviously going to offer, but I know you carry the torch for the Southern Conference, and you're really impressed with what they have done. Appalachian beats Tulsa. Davidson beats Nebraska. Sanford beats Auburn. Furman, as you said, beats South Carolina, and you beat Tennessee. It's a good thing for the Southern Conference to do these kind of things.
Nate, when I came back to coaching 4 years ago, it coincided with the arrival of one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player ever to play in the Southern Conference, and Stephon. I'd say
that was yours.
That was a Freudian slip. Stephon Curry.
Yep.
And Davidson dominated. And look what Davidson did. Stephon, first team All-American. They almost got to the Final Four.
Yep.
But Nate, every year I'm in the conference, we have great out-of-conference wins. You look back, you look at Wofford. They've had some incredible out-of-conference wins. Last year, Western Carolina beats Louisville at Louisville. I'm so happy to say that the College of Charleston is included in some of those great out-of-conference wins. And the ones you mentioned too, they're so important because they give our conference recognition. They give our conference an RPI rating.
Right.
And we are a very underrated conference, and to see us get these great out-of-conference wins is really meaningful to the Southern Conference.
How tough is it to get those kind of games? I mean, because everybody wants to play them until you lose, but you beat Tennessee this year. How tough is it to schedule those games?
Well, scheduling them, a lot of teams will play you on their home court. You've got to go out and play them.
Right.
And I have great respect for our coaches in our conference because all of them. I mean, look at UNC Greensboro. Oh, my gosh.
They're in the ACC.
They look like they're in the
conference.
ACC.
Yep.
You got to be careful you don't overdo it. But coaches in our conference are not scared to play anybody in the country. And it's not easy when you go on these other teams' home court. And so, again, I just can't say enough. I have such great respect for the coaches who they play. And when we have some of these upsets, it's great for our conference.
I got to ask you this. I don't know what Roy Williams said to you last year at your place when you beat him. What did he say to you this year after the game? Because it was a really good basketball game.
Yeah, Roy was great. Roy has a home in Isle of Palm in Charleston. That's why he came there. I can't thank him enough for bringing his team there in one of the greatest games that I've ever been involved with. But this year they're after us. I'm a Roy Williams fan. I'm a Mike Krzyzewski fan. I'm an ACC fan. Coaching there for 19 years, I love the ACC. But I love another conference, the conference I started in and the conference I'm presently in, and that's the SoCon Conference.
And let's talk real quick. Next year, who's coming to your place and as far as the marquee kind of games?
Right now, Tennessee's coming back. We'll go on the road, Nate. We'll have to return the third of a 2-for-1 game with Clemson.
Right.
We still have some more scheduling to do. So right now, Nate, I'm not thinking about next year. I want to get through this year.
Well, 3-0 in Southern Conference, a great start. Going to Wofford next game to continue the roll on the road, a tough road game for your basketball team. And then you go back home after that. We'll deal with those games later, one at a time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with a whole lot more of the Bobby Cremins Show right after this.
AT&T covers 97% of all Americans. Rethink possible.
Welcome back once again to the Bobby Cremins Show. Coach, you just alluded to the fact that you coached in the ACC for 19 years, and I know you follow college basketball all over the country. I just want to get your thoughts on, you competed against both of these guys. You played against Dean Smith. Coach K catches and then passes Dean Smith. Just talk about competing against both of those guys and what they mean to college basketball.
Dean Smith, he set the bar, Nate. For coaches before him in the ACC, coaches after him. He became the main man. And guys like Jimmy Valvano, Bobby Cremins, and Mike Krzyzewski, we had to catch him. Terry Holland, Lefty Drizel, he was something. I didn't think anybody could ever surpass him. And I want to congratulate a good friend, Coach K, who I coached against for 19 years. He ran me out of the ACC. Not only did he surpass Dean Smith, but it looks like he's going to surpass his mentor pretty soon, Bobby Knight. Coach K is one of the greatest, and what a program he has.
Well, Coach, I know you had fun competing against them, and now you're having fun in the Southern Conference. On a serious note, we want to mention that a good friend of the Cougar program, Jeremy Schultz, was in a very bad fire right after Christmas, and he's now in the Augusta Burn Center. And Jeremy, we just want to tell you that all the Cougar Nation is behind you. We're praying for you, and we're really looking forward to you being back at a Cougar basketball game after your recovery. So we just want to say that to your family, and we're all thinking about you. For Coach Cremins, I'm Nate Ross. We want to thank everybody that's involved in making this show, and most importantly, thank you for watching the show. You can see the show every Saturday at noon on MyTV 36, and we'll see you next week right here on the Bobby Cremins Show.